If you're sitting in the lounge room and it's winter, this dish is perfect. It's a fish pie. If you're sitting in the lounge room and it's summer, this dish is great because it's a fish pie. It does, you know, eat it whenever you want. So what we do as a start is we want 3/4 of a cup of milk. I'm going to give it a little pinch of salt, just a little dab of pepper. I've got some beautiful tarragon. Got a lovely piece of gurnard. This is one of my favourite fish. It's actually ocean trout. Cover. And now I'm going to basically put this in the oven 180 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes, and the fish is just going to poach very, very gently. Step 1, fish pie. All right, step 2, potatoes. Okay, you all know how to make mashed potatoes. This goes on the top of the pie. Peel your potatoes, quarter them into a pot with cold water, a little bit of salt, on the stove, bring to the boil, and you know, don't boil them too hard. I turn them down a little bit, and don't overcook them because they'll go all watery. And once they're lovely and cooked, you drain them off and mash them. I'll show you that in a minute. Step 3, cut the veg. So we're just going to get carrot, celery, and a bit of leek. Bits of green and orange, and all right, that's done. Peel your carrot. So these are flavourings. They're also colourings. I mean, you know, when you cut the pie and look at it, you've got these lovely bits of green and orange. And I just find when you're doing this stuff, I enjoy it. It's kind of therapeutic or meditative or whatever. So sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect ice. It doesn't have to be, you know, looking absolutely brilliant all the time. It's all about the flavour. Celery, here's a trick for you. If you ever have celery, you get that stringy stuff, you know, from the celery when you're eating it, it gets stuck in your mouth, and I really dislike it. Just peel this part of the celery. Some people might kill you for taking some of the nutrients out, but I just peel that top bit where the stringy stuff is, celery without the string. And the same thing, we're just going to dice that. Veg is done. Bit of olive oil in a fry pan. I'm going to fry that up, and I've got about 8 scallops, 8 prawns. You know, this pie is going to feed 2 or 3 people. Be delicious. The more seafood, the better, I reckon. Let's go to the stove. All right, fish still poaching in the oven. Potatoes on and almost coming up to the boil. We've got our pan here on some heat. Put some olive oil in. That's hot. Now look at that. See, look at that, beautiful. All those lovely colours in there. So we're just going to cook this down a bit. It already smells delicious. I mean, how can it be, you know, it's just so simple. 3 flavours into a little bit of olive oil in a pan. It looks great and it smells fantastic. And that's about as much as I want. It's easy. Because now I'm going to put in the scallops and the prawns, and I'm just going to par cook them. This is all building flavour. Try and keep it in the pan. The fish is poaching, that's creating some flavour. This lovely mix of veg, and now having the prawns and the scallops in there, it's creating another set of flavours. And again, I'm not wanting to cook these completely. I am cooking them a bit, like the fish, so that when it goes in the pie, the flavours are already started to be released, and I don't necessarily need to cook everything in the pie. It just heats it all up and allows the flavours to combine. That's the point. Beautiful. Oh, yes. I like my prawns cooked. Sometimes, you know, people undercook prawns, and I don't like that. I like them cooked so that they've got a slight meaty bite to them. Happy with that. Heat off. That's step 1, step 2, step 3. Now step 4. Soft, falls apart. That's what you want. It's not overcooked. We haven't cooked it too long, but as I said, it's not really going to cook much more in the pie. Once we put this pie together, all the flavours will combine. So what I've got left here, milk, flavour, herbs, and I'm going to add to that a very special ingredient. This is a fantastic beer. It's called La Chouffe. It's a French farmhouse style, sometimes known as a Saison. Can you hear the sound in the background? That's the potatoes cooking. I'm hearing that they're done. I don't want to overcook them. I might just go check them and turn them off. All right, I've drained them and I'll just let them sit in the colander. I don't want them to sit in the water because they'll go soggy and that wouldn't be any good. So where was I? 3/4 of a cup into the roux. So I'm still getting the flavour I'm wanting. It's still going to work. 3/4 of a cup, beautiful. We'll just add that into there. That'll foam up a bit. All right, see how flaky this is now? You just want to pull it apart like that. Nice chunks, chunky fish pie. Nothing wrong with using your hands as long as you keep washing them, etc. And then with the ocean trout, we take the skin off because you don't really want to have that in your pie. It's gelatinous and not really that nice, so that goes in the bin. But we've got all the flavour from it. There you go, done. Wash my hands, make the roux. First thing goes in the butter, so that's got to melt. So what I've done is I put 28 grams of butter and melted it down. And once it was nice and melted, I put 28 grams of flour. So when you're making a roux, you know, the basic idea is the same amount of flour to butter. Then, just give it a good stir. You don't want to burn it, but you do want to cook the flour out. See that? That's cooking. And when you stir it, it goes like that. And if you leave it, it cooks. All right, this is starting to colour a bit. I'll turn the heat down. And now, I'm just slowly going to add in the poaching liquor and the beer. See how nice and thick that is? And lastly, I'm going to add just a squeeze of lemon. Fish and lemon, nice. I'm going to add a little bit of Dijon mustard. I'm going to put in just a bit of white pepper. I might put a touch more lemon juice and then I'm going to put some cheese in. And just let that heat through, let the cheese melt, and we're done. All I need to do now is put all this into the bowl, mash the potatoes, put the potatoes over the top, a little bit of cheese in the oven until the potato kind of browns a bit, the cheese browns. The pie will boil a bit so we know everything's just finishing off, getting familiar. I like that, familiar with each other. All right. Damn, that's good. So, nice piece of butter goes in, a little bit of milk, not much, just a little bit. You can, if you want, put a little bit of cream, not much. And of course, just a little bit of salt. I'm going to be happy with that. So it's a personal thing really. If you want it softer, you can add more butter and milk. Again, it's going on the top of the pie, cottage pie. Okay, so that beautiful fish goes in. Bit of juice with that. As I said, I've washed my hands and I'm just going to give it a little stir like this so that, you know, it's mixed around. Next. And I'll just give this a little bit of a mix. Last, and this is kind of sometimes a funny step, a tricky step, because you kind of want to put it on, but you kind of want to paint it. So you want to seal the edges, because what you're doing is you're locking all that flavour inside and under the potato. And when it goes into a hot oven, hopefully some of those peaks will crisp. It's a little bit difficult. Just a little bit of cheese again to finish it off. Step 6, put it in the oven. Step 7, eat it. It's coloured up nicely. I could have left it in longer, but the fact is that the sauce is bubbling up and over. See how the sauce has come out, and that's fine. But that just means as well, and it's done. You don't need to cook it any longer. I don't know what to do, folks. I could serve it on a plate. But first, the good news is, this recipe is in my book. Shameless plug. But if you want the recipe, buy the book, or in fact, I'll put it on the website for you, okay? All right, I'm gonna tuck in. See you next time.